want to just share with you this page of various things to look at when you make observations. There are 9 items to consider when you read sentences. Now, this comes out of Dr. Duvall's Grasping God's Word. This is not my content, but I have typed this up using his book, and I'd encourage you to purchase it and to use it. But anyway, I will do a short video to show you how to mark repetition and how to look at contrasts and comparisons. But other things you can do are look at list. Is there any order to that list? Are they grouped in any way? For such an example, Acts 1:8, you have Jerusalem, Samaria, Judea, and the rest of the world. You're going to look for cause and effect. What is the cause? What's associated effort or effect? Is there more than one cause? Figures of speech, words used in a sense that's not the normal sense of the word. What image is the author trying to visualize with a figure of speech? You always want to look for conjunctions, and, for, but, therefore. But's some kind of a contrast, therefore is a conclusion. You want to look at verbs. What kind of verb is used? Is it present tense, future tense, past, future, present? Does it represent a progressive idea, have a continued action? Is it indicative mood, subjunctive mood, imperative mood? Are the verbs active and passive? Or if those are unfamiliar terms to you, then it might help you to pick up a basic English grammar, or just go online and search, and there's all kinds of helps for that. You'll also want to look for pronouns. Note things like our, us, he, she, it, using 9 different items, also coming from Dr. Duvall's Grasping God's Word. These are for paragraphs. You want to look and see if there's general and specific ideas. Is there a general statement? Or is that followed by specifics? Is it reverse, specific to general? Quite often you will find those kinds of categories. Question and answer. Is there a rhetorical question? Is it answered? The Apostle Paul likes to use such things. Dialogue. You always want to look and see if there's a dialogue. Who's participating? Who says what to whom? Where is the setting? Are other people around? And so you'll want to look at those. Purpose statements, phrases or statements that describe the reason, result, or consequence of some action. Look for in order that, or so that, or just plain that. Often gives you that purpose or result statement. A means by which something is accomplished. When an action, result, or purpose is stated, look for the means that brings about that action, that result, or purpose. And then you want to find out, if you can, how is that action, result brought into reality. Conditional sentences, these are usually introduced by an if. A resultant action, consequence has no specific introductory words. Always determine exactly what the required conditional action is. That's the if part. What the result or consequence is. And so in 1 John, John will say, if we say that we have no sin, that's the if, and then the then part is, we make God a liar. So that's the result. You also want to look at actions and roles of people and actions, roles of God. Identify, mark those, ask the questions, what does God do in the passage? What do people do? Is there any kind of connection with what God does, what the people do? Look for emotional terms. Now, don't overlook those. Look for emotional terms and feelings. Note words like father, child, daughter, son. Plead is even more emotional than ask, and so you want to kind of make those evaluations. And then you have tone. Look for emotional terms. Once again, once determine the emotional level of the passage, go to the overall tone of the passage. Scolding, angry, sorrowful. Tone of unimpassioned explanation. Is it calm, gentle, loving? These are all things that you could find. So some additional things to look at: connection between the paragraphs. How does the paragraph in the letter or episode in the narratives, like the Gospels, relate to and connect to each other? You want to look for those connections. Look for repeated words, logical connections. conditional sentences here. Look for story shifts, major breaks, and pivots. Is there a shift in the topics, doctrinal discussion? Is there an interchange used primarily in narrative and involves contrasting or comparing two stories at the same time? And then a chiasm. Chiasm is a list of items, ideas, events structured in such a manner that the first item parallels the last, the second item parallels the next to last, and so forth. To look for a chiasm, list the events and look for those parallels. So I pray that this video might be helpful for you as we continue our studies.